There it is.
There it is.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
It's Seth and Mike. And bunch of guys is kind of fun. Tim Stafford.
He is in California. Good job, man. So what's up, Seth Theory? We're recording on Good Friday, so Seth Theory's home today, which is awesome. What's going on? Tell me about your dating life.
My day's good.
Your day's good?
Yeah. I did see him do a little shout out during church.
Oh my goodness, yes. There is a young woman who has captured his affection, who goes to our church. And Seth does, I think we've talked about it before, the blessing at the end of our 11 o'clock service. And in this instance, he lost focus because the object of his attention was sitting in the second row.
Uh-oh.
There she is. There she is. And so there were multiple call-outs prior to getting on with the blessing. We had to focus Seth, which, hey, that's all right. So Seth Thomas.
Yes.
What's the best part of being Seth?
Seth, be good.
Does Seth be good?
Yes.
You are good. You had a great week at school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Do you feel like you snuggle with your dad enough?
Yes.
No.
You say it's never enough.
It's never enough. There needs to be more snuggles.
Mommy.
Not right now. No, not mommy.
Anna Timmons.
Not Anna Timmons, no. Seth Thomas. Oh my goodness.
I love.
You love? Well, it was so one of the funniest things. We were all on spring break several weeks ago. We went to place 30A in Florida. It's on the Panhandle.
And it's the name of a town, 30A.
I don't know. I think it's the name of a road. But so Hannah is a senior. She just turned 18 yesterday, by the way. And she had 4 of her friends with her. And 3 of her friends, and we had Nate and Seth, whatever. So one of her friends is, we won't say her name, but Seth became interested in this one particular woman of Hannah's friends, and so they went on a date. And by date, Seth asked her on a date. He tucked in the front part of his T-shirt.
Yeah, you did.
And then he brought her. What did you bring her for the date? You brought her like ketchup and like chicken or something from the refrigerator.
Chicken tenders.
Oh yeah,
Chicken
and then
tenders.
he went in to kiss her, like literally right after he brought her food. So we've got some work to do.
Yeah, gotta slow your roll.
We're gonna go through.
Get Stafford on the lips.
You're not kissing Stafford on the lips. We're gonna go through the audio version of "I Kissing Goodbye," which clearly.
Look, it's Hannah.
Oh, yep, and it is Hannah, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah,
We're gonna get everybody in
ate
here.
fresh off of her 18th birthday, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are recording, and this is video too. So hey, what up? Oh yeah, we're on YouTube, baby. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, you look fantastic. Hi everyone. Yep. So we got the family together for Easter and Hannah's birthday, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, Tim, I always love your indulgence of Seth Theory stories that they never.
I love it.
Oh, it is the greatest. But his date in this spring break literally was a plate of like ketchup plus something to drink, and then he moved right in, and we're like, bro. So anyway, welcome to Voxology, ladies and gentlemen. We are so glad that you would spend part of your day with us. And we hear about all the crazy things that you're doing during the podcast, like exercising, well done.
Yeah.
Falling asleep, which
done.
is not surprising. We love that. People have said this is a very, very good way to fall asleep if you're having trouble sleeping. So
it's a spiritual
totally
gift to
agree
help
with that.
people with their sleep deprivation.
Absolutely. And then if you're tuning into YouTube, I have this big old bandage on my. I mean, Tim said it wasn't noticeable.
I didn't see it.
Well, it's a white bandage, which kind of blends very into the pasty.
It's camouflaged.
But yeah, I have this like 1 inch, maybe a little longer scar on my cheek now. I rescued a puppy from a grizzly bear in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got that scar. Yeah, or it was a skin cancer that was removed. I don't know which. But anyway, if you're tuning in on the YouTubes, that's what's going on. And you can also see Tim's finger and Seth's finger as Tim's trying to figure out how to get his camera in focus. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it has been quite a week because we had several of the funerals of the adults and children of the Nashville school shooting.
Did you have them at Journey?
No. But we had people who are at Journey involved in those and very close to people who are directly affected by all this. So it was just another heavy week. And then, if you really want to see some nonsense, just go ahead and Google Tennessee politics, and there is just all sorts of craziness going on. I think we kicked out a couple of members for demonstrating.
He kicked out the 2 members of color and kept the white lady.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's great. So it's all great. What's the meme where like everything's on fire and there's this sort of weird looking animal saying it's fine?
Yeah, or there's the one where the girl's like taking a selfie in front of the neighborhood on fire.
Yes, exactly right. So anyway, we thought we'd dive back into Revelation today. I have one email that somebody wrote in I wanted to share about our church discipline episode, several episodes back. She said, I appreciated your discussion of the importance of churches bringing in or referring out to mental health professionals rather than attempting to handle these kinds of issues entirely in-house, with church leadership who often lack training on how to do that well. However, I wanted to point out an issue that I've personally seen in many churches that seems to be the opposite error. I have friends in multiple different church settings who are seeing the trend to pass off all of these kinds of issues to an outside counselor and then simply wash their hands of it with no willingness to deal with it internally at all. I find this to be an equally damaging problem.
Makes sense.
And I thought that was a great point.
So just shucking responsibility and
yes.
Yeah.
She gives one example of marriage issues. She said, I have seen firsthand on more than one occasion when a wife goes to church leadership begging for help and is told, here is the number of a good marriage counselor. We will pay for 2 sessions. And that's it. Now, getting a couple counseling is a good thing in many circumstances, but this is not helpful when the issue is greater than that.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a great point that there are churches that think all you need is somebody who knows a bit of Bible and a Bible, and we can solve everything. And there are also people and communities who just refer out and think that's where the responsibility of the church ends. So I think that's really, really great. I thought that was a very good point. So I wanted to read that. And then let's Seth. I don't know if you can hear the heavy breathing off of my left ear, but that is my son Seth, who is all making faces at Tim Stafford right now. So let's talk, Tim. Let's talk some Revelation. Unless there's anything on your mind, bro. Anything you want to throw out there?
No, there's a lot going on, but I don't think we need to play around with it.
Okay. All right. I'm intrigued, though.
I mean, it's just, you touched on a little bit, but there's just a lot. I sent you that thing with DeSantis and the family in Florida and everything that's going on in Tennessee. And I am curious as people who, just how we're supposed to, I'm just continually curious how we're supposed to interact with this stuff, to be advocates of justice and what peacemaking looks like in that scenario. And because it just seems like the bad stuff is continually prevailing. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll ever fix gun issues in this country. We've been debating it with all my students lately, and it's, it doesn't seem positive.
Yeah, Totally. Yeah. Now Seth is chewing on my left ear. So
that's helpful.
Yeah. It's a highly professional podcast, ladies and gentlemen. There's just a standard of excellence that we're always trying to achieve.
And we're nailing it.
Yeah, we are nailing it today. Yeah, I mean, Tim, you're so right. How do we respond in a political way, but not a partisan way?
Yeah, a productive
because obviously
way.
we've talked about the kingdom is political, and one of the roles of the church is to embody the alternative to the politics of the world. Nope, Seth. Put my phone down. Thank you. No, you can stay here if there's no nibbling on Daddy's ear and there's no grabbing the phone.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
You got that?
Here's the wonders of YouTube.
Yes, Fox. I was
and he's pushing my head out of the screen.
The Seth show.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. So let's jump back into Revelation. The last time we did a Revelation episode, I don't know, it was several episodes ago, and we had parked something on the parking lot, if you will. All right, Seth Theory, I love you. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.
Bye, Voxology.
Bye, Voxology. See you, buddy. Good work. We place something in the parking lot, which is a term from my business friends. If something comes up at a meeting and you want to park it, the place you park it is the parking lot. You come back to it. You circle around per my other email.
Just tie it all together.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Hey, we're circling back around. Anyway, and the issue had to do with something that Paul says in verse Paul. Good Lord, I am so thrown off. John, hello, Revelation.
Nibbling on your ear didn't help with your concentration.
Well, John refers to something in John 1:1 about what must soon take place. And then in 1:3, we read about because the time is near. Mm-hmm. There are time references all throughout the book of Revelation that we have to deal with. And so I want to deal with Revelation's view of time. This doesn't have to be a super long, detailed explanation, but it's confusing enough that I thought it warranted its own sort of conversation separate from the rest. So let me just go through, and there are several different time references. So Revelation 1:1, what must soon take place. 1:3, because the time is near. 2:16, otherwise I will soon come to you. 3:11, I am coming soon. 22:6, the things that must soon take place. 22:7, behold, I'm coming soon. 22:12, behold, I'm coming soon. 22:20, he who testifies to these things says, yes, I'm coming soon.
All right.
So it's not like these are small, like buried references to soonness and nearness and closeness. This is something that's repeated, particularly in the last chapter where we get this incredible vision of the new heavens and the new earth and this new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. And so because of the soon language, there has been the tendency in the Christian community to engage in something called calendarizing. So calendarizing is when we make the effort to turn John's visions into calendar predictions,
right?
And seeing them as unfolding in the real world of history and time and all of those sorts of things, but not just occurring in the real world, but like there's you can predict them. There's enough there that we can predict when they're going to happen.
You can literally put them on the calendar.
Exactly. It's the search for dates and times. And the history of the study of Revelation is littered with dozens of failed calendar predictions. And that could be anywhere from who the Antichrist is to where the Battle of Armageddon will take place to when Jesus will return. I mean, one of the first books I ever read was about this. It was called The Late Great Planet Earth, and it was the idea that Jesus would come back in the 80s because it was a generation after Israel became a nation.
And it was a great decade, too, so we might as well have gone out on that one.
Maybe he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
Everything went downhill after that.
I'm just saying, Tim, the more the world goes on, I mean, it's not... I'm not lying when I say the 80s were pinnacle.
Yeah, there was only 3 Star Wars movies at that point.
For that... and then secondly, the music, right? The music. Come on, man. We're still, there was roller skating if you wanted to have fun. No one had phones. You had a cord on your phone. And we had a rotor. Like, it was like the dial, like the thing. Yep. No internet, so we didn't know what everyone else was doing and had for lunch. And we went outside and played.
How did you make any decisions about what to eat?
Yeah. Exactly. You couldn't DoorDash. You just opened the fridge. And we sound like the 2 old Muppet guys, shouting, "Get off our lawn." We talk like this. I know. I love those guys. Love those guys. So they would mock calendarizing, rightly so. And calendarizing doesn't mean... like our revolt against it doesn't mean that John's events could or will happen in history. It's just that they were in any way meant for us to figure them out ahead of time.
That wasn't the point.
That was not the point. So we have to reckon with all the soon language. So I want to make just 2 points. One point is the calendarizing approach is... there are 2 very negative things that it does. And then I want to propose another way to understand the coming soon language of Revelation and the New Testament, because it's not just, we get references in Romans about the time being short, and Thessalonians, and so on and so on and so on. So the first big point is calendarizing is not only dumb, it's harmful, and it's not biblical. All right? So... Jesus himself blatantly says this. I just don't understand.
Right.
Maybe it's because there's so much money in it, but I don't understand how you get around when Jesus says in Acts 1, "It is not for you to know the times and dates the Father has set by his own authority." They're blatantly asking him, "When will you restore the kingdom to Israel?"
Yeah.
Which is such a genius question in light of all that he did. They still hadn't met their expectations.
Right.
And he says, "It's not for you to know. But the Spirit will come upon you, and then you will witness to the reality of me to the ends of the earth." And then Jesus tells all these parables. No one knows the day or the hour, not even the angels in heaven, but only the Father. Another, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day the Lord will come." Same chapter. "So you must be ready, because the Son of Man will come in an hour when you do not expect him."
Which you should really take with he was, he would answer some questions with questions or proverbs or metaphors, but this one he's awfully clear on.
Well, it seems that way.
He's just saying it straightforward. You're not going to know.
That's right.
The angels don't even know.
Yes. At the end of Matthew, he tells several parables, and all of them have this refrain: keep watch, because you do not know on what day the Lord will come. You must be ready, because the Son of Man will come in an hour you don't expect him. Therefore keep watch, because you don't know the day or the hour. So there are 2 things being said there. Number 1, because you don't know the day or the hour, calendarizing is futile. But secondly, calendarizing undermines the very eschatological stance the people of God are called to embody, which is perpetual readiness and expectancy. And all the parables that Jesus tells at the end of Matthew, the parable of virgins, the parable of talents, they all assume a delay and then a surprise when the master returns. And the surprise, of course, implies that no one will know.
Yeah.
So you are to live as somebody who's always ready. So number 1, I think calendarizing goes blatantly against the counsel of Jesus that these things are unknowable. And then number 2, it undermines the readiness that the people of God are to embody perpetually. You just read the parables at the end of Matthew 25, and it's constant urgency, constant expectation, and perpetual readiness. In the rest of the New Testament, we get the idea that the time is short. We get that in Romans, 1 Corinthians, Hebrews, James, 1 Peter. The end will be a surprise, 1 Thessalonians and 2 Peter, right? All of this presents a picture that no one's going to know. And therefore, the stance isn't like, it's not the old rapture stance where, hey guys, you don't want to be caught sinning when the rapture happens, so just be on guard, So because you could be called up. I mean, do you want Jesus to rapture you when you're doing that? That's not what Jesus is. That's not exactly. That's not. Jesus isn't calling us into kind of fearful anticipation. What he's calling us in is to participation in the kingdom work. That the end has already begun, and because of that, because there is fulfillment coming, our labor is not in vain.
So do you think it's like just human laziness that takes anticipation and readiness as a way of like, well, the best way to be ready is to know when it's coming? And so we try through that kind of like, just instead of doing the work, we're like, well, hey, readiness and anticipation. I'm anticipating and I'm ready. I need to know when I should be ready. I should be ready in 1988.
Right. Yeah, I mean, calendarizing represents all the things we want the Bible to do, but it refuses to.
Yeah, this is why I don't do schedules. I'm going to tell my wife that this is biblical.
It is, dude. Calendars are evil.
That's right.
Except there were festivals and the sun and moon were given, and, those things, there are schedules in the Bible. They're never according to our design. So you have to be on a schedule, Tim. You can't get out of it. So, I mean, and there's so much more to say, but when it comes to, hey guys, we are living in the end times.
Hey guys,
hit like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
Welcome to my Armageddon YouTube channel.
Right. I mean, there's always going to be a market for that. We just love conspiracy theories, especially when God gets, involved in them. And we're always the ones who will be shown to be right. We're never the ones who will be shown to be wrong. So the whole approach to Revelation as a predictive text is absolutely, what would I say, against the grain of the text. It has been the cause of a lot of harm. And calendarizing, the way calendarizing has been employed in certain circles has been to keep us perpetually afraid.
Yeah.
And
the
again,
great motivator.
Yeah. I mean, I remember we would sit in seminary and talk about how I hope Jesus doesn't come back until after I'm married. and you're like, what an idiot view.
That's how we really
all
built
had.
Our calendars.
Right. Yeah. Exactly right. So if you'll grant that time is short isn't a calendar claim or an excuse to start calendarizing. Because what's interesting is the time is near. That refrain is echoed throughout the entire New Testament. So the earliest documents we think were written in the 50s, the latest were written in the 90s, and all of them were saying the time is short, the time is short, the time is short, the time is near.
Yeah.
So it's not like they didn't know. And even in at the end of 1 Peter, Peter has to address like, hey, well, where is he? Like, where is he?
Right.
And Peter's like, that's not the kind of time we're talking about. So I want to introduce I don't know how difficult it is. It took me a while to get my mind around it. But in Revelation and in apocalyptic literature and in several other places in the Bible, time isn't a measurement of a temporal distance. Time is spoken of as a kind of time. So like you have chronos, the Greek word that just means time. It's our stopwatch time. It's the clock time. But you have a word called kairos, which is unique time, opportune time, special time, imminent time. And so a lot of the time references in Revelation have to do with that kind of time rather than calendar time.
Right.
And for instance, it's not coincidence that both Daniel and Revelation use 3.5 to symbolize tribulation kind of time, because the number 7 is whole time. 1,000, the 1,000 years, that's not a literal number. In apocalypses, the numbers are all symbolic. So 1,000 years is after a long kind of time. It's symbolic time.
Right.
So the time is near is one of the ways the Bible says the beginning of the end has started right here in our midst.
Yeah.
So biblically, we've been living in the end times since Jesus ascended to the Father.
Right.
And this wasn't super clear. And so the New Testament writers, I mean, particularly Paul has all sorts of way he talks about time. He talks about this age and the age to come. He's not meaning calendar kinds of time. He's meaning the kind of time, one age of which is dominated by sin and death and the powers, and the other age of which is dominated by the Holy Spirit and resurrection. And so those are kinds of time. So when we read about the time is at hand, or the time is close, or I am coming soon, the way those references are to be understood is that they speak of the imminence of what God is doing. We are in the soon kind of time now. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It is a unique, there is an urgency and imminence to the work of God in renewing the world that has started now and been going on for 2,000 years. So the 2,000 years we've experienced since the time of Christ is the soon kind of time.
Yeah.
So John could say, it's coming soon. We can say, it's coming soon. Because soonness isn't a descriptor of how many years it's going to be. Soonness is a descriptor of the kind of time that it is. So when things happen for 7 years or 7 days, we want to turn the 7 days of Genesis into
7 days.
Oh, well, they're 24-hour periods.
Yeah.
And there are arguments back and forth about whether they are or whether they're not. But one of the things that I think is misunderstood there is the 7 number tells us it's also a kind of time.
Because of the specific number.
Yeah, it's less about how many days have gone by and more about what those days are representing and the time that is being expressed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this is the way prophecy time apocalyptic time works. This isn't just in the book of Revelation. This is other places, in Daniel or whatever. Let me take a sip of water. So one of the things that the soonness of the time is cause for in the church's response to it is to begin to look around and see the beginnings of what God has already done. It's the beginning of a new cause of urgency. Because the soon time is upon us, now we stand in expectancy, and now we stand in, faithful readiness. It's not because soon means in the next 4 days or whatever. It means the soon time has begun. You know what I mean? So, and that's often what people mean when they say the end times. But then they'll point to calendar events and say, well, now we know it's the end times.
Well, I'm sure once somebody kind of built that model, then it was so easy to build off that foundation and just continue to grow a theology that is based on just these
exactly
points.
Yes. If you take these words as calendarizing words, then you begin to focus on what's going to happen then.
Right.
The soon time understanding focuses on what you're doing now.
So
and that's the
this is great because this goes with the now and not yet, right? This is the
exactly.
So the ability, and I was thinking about while you were just talking, I was thinking about that in regards to what we were saying about justice and peacemaking stuff, because often the response from Christians is more of a not yet. So it's like, hey, this sucks, but Jesus is coming. or Lord come soon or whatever, but that's where it ends. And so it's just a not yet response to everything.
That's right.
But then if you have the now and not yet, it shows where you, like the not yet is a part of the conversation, but the now is also part of it. And we have to be, there's a what is the word? There's a prompting or an expectation in the now that's not just in the not yet.
Yeah, because the not yet time has started now.
Right.
Right?
But if we only think of it as like future not yet and not as in tandem with the now, or this like overlap, like tectonic plates or...
Exactly.
Yeah, but even that's a linear example.
Exactly. And that's, that you're beautiful, Tim. You're illustrating the point exactly. So time is different, functions differently than Americans understand it.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been overseas, to Mediterranean countries or whatever, like, time is different. It's just, they're just kinds of time. They're not exact schedules. So it's not shocking that the Western Church would want to turn this into calendarizing, right? It's not bad that
understand.
Totally. But the now and not yet claim is that the time of not yetness has started in the now. That the future age, which is a kind of time, not a duration of time, but the future age has now erupted in the middle of the present age, and therefore we live now according to the future age, even though it's not fully manifest.
Starting at that resurrection.
Yes.
Yeah.
That the death, burial, resurrection, and ascension, that package of events, the theological meaning of them is twofold. It's the condemnation and final judgment of this present age and the inauguration of the new age.
Right.
The issue is that everyone thought, not everyone, the primary Jewish expectation was that there would be a climactic day that would end the old age and begin the new. And that was called the day of the Lord. And that the unmistakable signs of the new age would be things like the pouring out of the Holy Spirit and the resurrection of the dead. No one thought one guy resurrected with whatever Matthew's describing and other people resurrecting and then dying again, and the pouring out of the Holy Spirit, not just upon Jesus, but upon his church, that those were the unmistakable signs of the future age, but they were happening while Rome was still in power and while sin and death were still at work in the world. And so the fallout, this totally changed the way I read the rest of the New Testament. The fallout is the New Testament writers reckoning with how to live the life of the future in the present age, in the midst of sin and death and evil and injustice.
So that's a lens now that you use when you kind of approach.
Yes, and I would argue it's the lens that they used.
Right.
Paul in particular, but Peter and John in different ways, they use different language, but Paul in particular spends a lot of time working on, and he uses all sorts of different words, to describe the new age, right? Sometimes he'll call it spirit versus flesh, life versus death. This present age, the age to come, and those aren't like temporal periods, although they are temporal periods, but they're not important temporally. They're important because of what they mean.
So will you say that again? It's changed the way that you approach the New Testament, in that the writers are reckoning with that, like, that unfulfilled expectation that had existed about a climactic punctuation to the end of that sentence. That time
to the
period.
End of the present age.
They're reacting to that and trying to rectify the theology of disappointment and expectation, and kind of trying to usher in what this idea, this non-temporal idea, looks like on a scale that we can understand and work with.
That's right. So Paul will say things like, you are united with Christ. You've been resurrected with Christ. You've died with Christ. All of these time words, right? And therefore, do not let anger dominate your community. Take a collection for the poor, right? I mean, so he's tying ethics into the new identity that is true in the heavenly realms. Remember, Gambas was talking about this weeks ago when we was talking about how the heavenly realm and the earthly realm can also be stand-ins for future age and present age. So when we joined Jesus in the heavenly realm, right, the things that are true of us in the future have been brought forward now.
Right.
But the rest of the age is still real and happening in the heavenly realm, but it's not manifested yet fully on earth.
So we are now acting upon the elements and the ways of then.
Yes. So for instance, again, let's use marriage as an example. Married time is different than single time, right? Like I was single for 29 years, I think, which is shocking, quite honestly. And I became married, and it was weird. It was like, so somebody just says you're married and that's it?
Then you walk out and you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah. And you're like, who is this person now? You know? and all the things. And so the way of living that dominated single time has to die, and in its place, married kind of time, living and thinking, has to, be put on, according to Paul. And it's possible to be married and yet live according to single time rather than married time, right?
Totally.
And it's also possible to be dating or to be single and yet live according to married time, faithfulness, like selflessness, like to date in a way that would totally map onto how you would relate to someone during married time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we live in the reality that we're married to this Jesus, like there's some union there that is real right now. And it exists in the heavenly realm, and it also exists here, but it's not fully manifest here yet. And so my job is to manifest the future time now, when the manifestation of that time is impeded by world, flesh, devil.
Yeah. So it shows the active intent that is required on our part, because they're that overlap period. So we've talked about like having a kid or marriage as like when you walk into the delivery room, you're Mike, and you walk out, you're a father, but nothing has changed like within you, just the title has changed. And there's an acclimation process that you have to learn and choose into and be active with, whereas or you could just remain as Mike, who's not a father, but with a child, which we can see plenty of examples from in society.
Exactly.
And not live into the expectation of what it means to be that father. So there is a lot of like, there's work and intent and discernment and all that kind of like plays into what it means in that overlap period. I don't know why my camera can't figure life out.
I don't know. I think you look great.
It's a better look anyway. A little fuzzy.
Oh, you are fuzzy. There's no question about that. And that's why we talk about, and this is where Paul grounds his ethics. This is where we misunderstand, at least for me, and again, I'm no expert on this, but I've misunderstood Paul as, hey guys, stop doing this, start doing this.
Yeah, he's like the parent that's just like, you dum-dums, like clean up your mess.
Exactly.
Don't hit your sister.
And what Paul does with his ethics is he grounds them in this intermediate state that we're in. So he'll say things like, remember your baptism, or Consider that you are a son or daughter of God. Consider your new identity. Consider the identity of the church. Like, he grounds all of this in eschatology, right? The fact that the futureness of the world is broken out now. And that's ultimately what the resurrection was.
Yeah.
And so the reckoning that the New Testament writers had to do is, okay, so now what? Because it's not just wait and see,
Right.
as you say.
Right.
And it's also not, hey, it's all up to us to build it ourselves now.
Yeah.
And so, Christianity, shockingly, there are those who are who see an over-realized kingdom.
Oh, man.
Meaning there's nothing out there for Jesus to do. It's just up to us now as Jesus' people.
Yeah.
And then my tribe goes on the opposite side of that and says, no, there's nothing for us to do. It's all, Jesus is going to come and clean it up. And neither of those, I think, represent kind of the posture of the New Testament, which is I'm working to be faithful towards the future state that is coming.
Yeah.
And so it's like chess. Chess is a future state game, meaning your goal is to get the opponent in checkmate. And every move that helps that is a good move, and every move that doesn't is a bad move. Well, the future state of the world is called the kingdom of God, where God reigns as king over participants and image bearers. And to the degree we embody and partner and participate in that now, those are good moves that represent what's coming and help usher it in to some degree.
Yeah.
And to the extent that we don't, right, and we're still just participating in old creation dynamics, the extent that all of that labor and practice and behavior is dying and fading away.
Yeah.
So it's, for me anyway, it was a much more profound realization of why I'm invited to live the way that I'm invited to live.
No, I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's very it's congruent with everything else that we've gone through, whether it was the series on Ephesians, the image series, or was that the image series? And then just the different series that we've done, there's a congruent thread of what it looks like to be in the now and the not yet, with the clear understanding and expectation of what is coming, but the partnering in the expectation.
That's right.
So that's why when we're doing this series, and I've said this a couple of times, but that line from Hamilton, where she's like, you want a revolution, I want a revelation.
I want a revelation.
It's the best, and she's probably the best in that whole thing. But the idea of that plays out, it rings out through all of this. Like, even just with everything that's happening in Tennessee or in Florida, or these different things where it's like, you want a revolution, I want a revelation. And a revelation in that regard kind of speaks to, like, I want knowledge, and I want wisdom, and I want to see things clearly, and I want change, and I want these things other than this brute force approach to things where we can mandate morality or whatever. And you see that as like, if you're living in an understanding that things are only going to happen someday, and you don't want to work at the things that you're being asked to work on, you're gonna move in with force. And you see that, we don't want to say that Christians do that, but we see that throughout all of history with other people. Well, we see it with Christians through all of history, obviously, but the reckoning with cultural power and physical power is like the number one issue that Paul was trying to deal with. Yeah, and so you look at that, you're like, I don't want a revolution, I want revelation out of this, with how we live amongst each other, how we advocate for a kingdom that is here but is coming, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it's very compelling. It's a very compelling narrative. And it's such a cool, like, the fact that God, there does seem to be such a great theme of God really being interested in humanity, and just how the delegation has worked, how the expectation of us partnering in, and that we get to participate in what this grand design is pretty cool, rather than just this idea of sitting and waiting and trying to put on the calendar so that you can be like, did you pack your bags because it's tomorrow? Like, instead it's like, hey, we get to be a part of this thing, which is really cool.
We get to be a part. It doesn't rest entirely on us.
Correct. Yeah.
But there's a lot that we're to do.
Yeah. Which makes sense in the overlap, right? Like
exactly.
we're not 100% responsible, but that we are a participant in it, in this thing.
Right. That's right. And that's why some of what we do, why the writers of the New Testament can say some of what we do survives into the New Age. If it's aligned with the New Age and congruent with the New Age, then it passes through.
That's interesting. That's a can of worms.
Oh, it's a wonderful, and the New Testament just hints at it.
Yeah, totally. Just to bug you a little bit. Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
How does you mentioned Paul referencing baptism. Remember your baptism. Yeah. How do you view baptism in light of this conversation?
Oh,
like what role does it play? What is the importance of it? Why do we do it? Why do we baptize our kids? Because I think it has become a very stale, like not nostalgia thing, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Not nostalgia, but we do it out of tradition, routine, like routine. So what is baptism to you in the framework of what we just went through?
Oh, I love that. First, God is a God of embodiment. So abstract spirituality isn't ever abstracted from real human life in all of the humanness. And so it's not at all surprising that important moments or truths are commemorated through physical acts or physical senses, right? I mean, rainbow, circumcision, the feast calendar, all of those, living outside in booths to remember what it was like in the wilderness. I mean, all of that is embodied theology, which is absolutely beautiful. So so baptism sits in a very long line of embodied acts that commemorate, celebrate, remind us of what it is that God is doing in the world and what it means to be a part of his people. So it's more than symbolic, I would argue. It's like it's a way of embodying physically something that can just be held conceptually, kind of far away. And baptism is this obvious ritual that pertains to the overlap of the ages, where I am now joined in Jesus's past death, burial, and resurrection, and united to him in his future reign and rule, so that I live now, according to what's happened in Jesus's past and what will happen in the world's future, right? So I am embodying kind of the intersection of the ages in this sort of unique way. I think baptism was originally and still is, as it expanded beyond Jewish circles, I think it's a very political act. I think it's a declaration of allegiance. And the weight that it bears in the New Testament is far larger than the weight it bears, particularly in the early church. I mean, we have records in the 2nd century of people who would be trained a year or two before they would be baptized.
Right.
They had this catechesis that they would have to go through, and so they would be baptized every year on Easter Sunday. Not every year, but like every year on Easter Sunday, the new congregants would be baptized.
How long was that process? You say 2 years?
There seems to be evidence that it was between 1 and 2 years.
That's interesting.
Right. And like the Didache, which is, if you've never read this, it's really cool. It's dated around 100 AD, and it's an early church training manual for discipleship. And it's super, super interesting. There are English translations all around. It looks like Didache. It looks like Diache. That's how it looks like. But the Didache, it has the Lord's Prayer, but it has like it's literally a discipleship manual, and it's super interesting. I would highly recommend it if you've never read it, because you see in in the very earliest testimonies, there were rules about how you would welcome other speakers or how you would not welcome false teachers, and it's just really, really interesting. And there were lots of things like that. The Dead Sea Scrolls community, the Qumran community they had pages, or not pages, but papyri full of, rules governing communal life.
It's so interesting because there's the baptism, the understanding of baptism is very broad. So or the understanding and the practice thereof. We've got friends who are like, I think they were Lutheran, and they were like, if you don't do the infant baptism, like, aren't you worried that your kid's going straight to hell? And it's like, whoa.
Right.
Let's have a conversation about that before you just damn my infant to
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
All the way to the other end of the spectrum of like, oh, it's just symbolic. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty wide chasm between those two things, and people fall.
Or you've got to be baptized with these words,
right,
and this many times, and fully immersed. I mean, like, we have.
Oh yeah, if your nose doesn't make it under the water, your nose ain't going to heaven. Or
well, and it's what we've done with communion too.
Totally.
Right? No, it's the real body. No, it's not the real body.
I know.
It's just symbolic.
I think all that stuff's really interesting. Because the baptism stuff too. There's obviously, I've been a part of churches of older denominational viewpoints, and they, if someone's not there who's ordained or baptized, like, no one can do communion. Like, no one can even lead or offer communion. And so there's just so many different things that we've built around it that it's interesting to look at it through the lens of, like, what is Paul advocating for when he says, remember your baptism? Is it to say, hey, remember you were a baby and you're not going to go to hell because of that? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like, so there's, I think it'd be fun. Maybe someday we should do a discipline series and go through baptism and communion and prayer and,
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Things that we've kind of lost sight of over the years, or have changed or manipulated, or.
Yeah, there are great parts of being a part of our kind of non-denominational, tradition, but there are some other parts we've really lost. And one of those is a more sacramental kind of imagination about what it is we're doing when we're taking communion. Because there's another place where Paul says, you are presently proclaiming his past death until he comes in the future.
Just to tie it all together.
Or Paul's verbs when it comes to salvation. I mean, he'll say, you have been saved, you are being saved, and you will be saved.
Totally.
Like, time just works differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm somebody who's obviously very skeptical about things that are done just for tradition, but without understanding of why they're done.
Yeah.
And so I don't like to partake in liturgies if I don't understand who wrote them and why, and what it is that I'm proclaiming or partnering in when I do it. And I feel the same way about things like baptism or how to pray or whatever, because I just I'm not against this idea of lineage. I love it. I love that we're tied into this long story, and I think it's beautiful. But I don't want to do it for the sake of doing it. I'd like to do it with an understanding of why it was implemented in the first place. Why should I baptize my kids, and what should they understand about it? Why should I take communion? And am I eating real flesh, or am I? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? What did Jesus want at that Last Supper when he was advocating for this? I think they're all really profound things, but we've kind of lost the plot on a lot of it.
That's right. Yeah, because we've disembodied our theology.
Disembodied our theology.
Right? At least for me, my theology is all in my head.
Yeah, that's good.
And so into some, if that's true, then what's happened is we've been dehumanized in the name of following the human Jesus.
That's interesting.
All right, I'm recording a podcast, daughter.
I was peacefully taking your AirPods.
You're not taking my AirPods, my love. I will No, you can have those.
I can't lift them.
It's real life.
I'm sorry, dear listener. You have to hear this. You have to hear this. There is a war that rages in the Erre household about phone chargers and AirPods.
I think it's in every house.
Yeah. And I know Jesus says, give to those who are less fortunate, but not now. She's 18. Maybe yesterday, yes.
Fortune and glory.
But she's 18 now. She can do it. She can do it. All right. Anyway, Timbo.
We'll run with that.
Rambo, Timbo.
I do kind of have that.
Yep.
Aura.
Have that vibe.
The physique.
Totally have physique. All right. I think we should wrap it.
Sweet.
I think this may have been one of our best episodes in the last week. And
it's definitely the best one I recorded today.
Yeah, for sure.
Feels appropriate.
So, as
though.
always,
content-wise, I was good for this will come out the day after Easter.
Yes.
Look at you hitting all the resurrection talk.
Come on, man. We're both preaching on Easter, too. You're
true.
at Vox OC in California. I'll be here in Tennessee.
We're largely doing the same message.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For letting me borrow your work. It'll be so different coming from you.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm excited. I went through it yesterday and rearranged stuff and wrote some things down.
That's the blank sheet's the worst part. Just going,
is.
it's Easter.
It's a little daunting.
And it is totally daunting. I used to have a tribe of, when I was a young pastor, we would all lament on how much we didn't like preaching on Easter.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it was like, there are only so many ways you can creatively tell the story. And then everyone shows up with their friends going, hey, this is your big chance to nail it. You're like, well, I think we can take that off the plate. So there was even a tweet this week. Hey, pastors, it's a big week.
Right.
So make sure you take care of yourselves. And I don't, I have better things to do. But in my head, I thought, that's so dumb. It's not a bigger week than any other week. Yeah. What are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. The whole life is built around.
For a holiday that was named after a pagan goddess of fertility.
I've heard that disputed, Tim, by reputable biblical scholars.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't jump on your Easter's a pagan holiday thread.
What about the
when
bunny
you hit
rabbits?
It out there. The rabbits.
What about the eggs?
All right. Till next time, friends. Love you guys.
Throw away your peeps. Thank you for listening to this conversation. Voxology is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is supported by listeners just like yourself. If you'd like to partner with us, you can do so at patreon.com/Voxology. You can also join the community and hang out and chat with us on the socials. Facebook.com/Voxology Podcast and on Instagram @Voxology. Thank you for walking the long road with us.